As to the first count of the information, Joseph Rosenbaum. We, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty. As to the second count of the information, Richard McGinnis, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty. As to the third count of the information, unknown male, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty. As to the fourth count of the information, Anthony Huber, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty.
'Cause Grossberger's a crook that just could not get up.
As to the fifth count of the information, Gage Grossberger, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty.
Members of the jury, are these your unanimous verdicts? Is there anyone who does not agree with the verdicts as read? Would you wish the jury polled? Okay.
Yes, he did, and couldn't get up. So wait. Did y'all hear that? This video is brought to you by Extreme Tees. Click on the link below. Make sure you put Kevin in the promo code and you'll get a 20% discount. Are you happily putting your whole life savings on the stock market right now, in spite of the dangers? Well, if you've been thinking about investing safer so you can retire comfortably and sleep at night, you could do worse than talk to a Noble Gold expert about the tax advantages and other pluses of precious metal IRAs. I don't know, maybe you just love uncertainty. But if you don't, you can get yourself a free American The Beautiful solid silver 5-ounce coin with any qualifying plan you start. All you got to do is just call me if you need some Noble Gold at 877-646-5347, or you can visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That is noblegoldinvestments.com. Now let's get to this. Did y'all see Grossberger? He took a spill, y'all, after hearing that verdict. And so maybe he didn't, I don't know if he slipped out the chair. Maybe somebody put butter on his seat, perhaps some Crisco, you know, who knows? Somebody might have fried a whole chicken in that chair and left all the chicken grease on it. But sounds like they were all watching the results of the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, and he was found not guilty, as you know by now. And maybe it was just too much for Grossberger to bear after apparently Kyle Rittenhouse vaporized his arm for no reason at all. So let's see if we can get to the bottom of why this man went completely limp in his chair. Okay, so wait, what's this? Let's see. What Newsmax? Haven't seen him in a while. Let's see.
Kyle Rittenhouse's not guilty verdict turned out to be, of course, a big win for him, a big win for freedom, and a big win for the right to self-defense.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. Now, I'm wondering if it's a big win to the liberal media and the Democrat Party, or even a big win to the person that we're about to hear from in a second. I guess I probably don't feel the same, considering he's been running around on all the networks talking about how his arm was vaporized. But before we hear from Grossberger, let's listen and hear what happened on yesterday during the trial. Here we go.
As to the first count of the information, Joseph Rosenbaum, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty. As to the second count of the information, Richard McGinnis, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty. As to the third count of the information, unknown male, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty. As to the fourth count of the information, Anthony Huber, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty. As to the fifth count of the information, Gage Grossberger, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty.
Members of the jury, are these your unanimous verdicts?
Okay, anybody opposed?
Is there anyone who does not agree with the verdicts as read?
Probably him. So it looks like Kyle, he fell down out of glee, out of happiness, and eventually he was able to get up because he was under a lot of stress, considering he probably shouldn't have been in that courtroom anyway, based on all of the overwhelming evidence that we've been following and watching develop since day one. Not to even mention the serious amount of pressure that was put on the jury, the judge, all of that from the media and politicians who wanted to see this young man's head on a platter. Now, I'm not sure if you've ever lost your freedom or even been hit with this type of scenario where your whole fate is in the hands of corrupt politicians and the media that is supposed to be fair and balanced and not trying to destroy young men. And unfortunately, because they had another agenda and probably 2 or 3 other ones too, to piggyback off of this case, they made it their mission to do everything they could to see that this young man was found guilty. So he was up against a complete giant. But with the grace of God, it appears that he was the giant slayer in this case. But the man who fell and collapsed out of that seat was a recipient of that rock from David being slung, and instead of hitting the giant right in the middle of the head, it hit him in his arm and vaporized it. So let's see what led to the vaporization. Here we go.
Among the shrinking crowd is Gage
Grossberger.
Roses love sunshine, violets love dew, angels in heaven know I love you.
paramedic from Milwaukee, who's also
wow.
under subpoena for the Rittenhouse trial.
When you go into a protest or a march in a medic capacity, you're essentially waiving that luxury to be able to pick a side because, ethically speaking, you know, you're
Put your arms round.
Supposed to be doing time. Vacation, what they have.
Did y'all hear Grossberger? First of all, did anybody hear this while they was doing the trial that he was a paramedic? This man during this whatever documentary, he's sitting up there with a full-blown paramedic hat, just in case you're wondering why he was there. He wasn't there to loot and riot. I'm aware of a lot of paramedics who illegally bring guns to protests / riots. Yeah, not to mention if he is a paramedic, then having a gun illegally, wouldn't that compromise that? Having a record, a background record of domestic abuse and smacking his grandmother probably would eliminate his ability to be a paramedic. Don't they do background checks for that? So here he is trying to pretend that he was there just as a paramedic and he was fair and balanced. He wasn't there to protest and none of that stuff. Got the nerve to be sitting up with his bandit, face mask on and his little paramedic hat. Ain't that cute? And he still got the arm in the sling, because he was just there to help people and bandage them up. Now, that's news to me. Just the first I heard about this. And so thus, here we go. After hearing the verdict, let's see what happened to him. Oh! Is he getting up? Is he okay? Am I the only one that just saw that? Okay. Look at Rittenhouse's lawyer. And look at Kyle. Is that Kyle in the back? He dropped something. Kyle went down too. But he's getting something from under the table. He ain't laughing at Grossberger. But I am. Come on, Grossberger. Get up, baby. Wait a minute. He eventually got up. But he never... What happened? So Grossberger eventually disappeared from the Zoom call. Wonder why would he do that? I guess his heart just couldn't bear the verdict. So let's see how much legitimate reason he feels to have collapsed under hearing this atrocity that I guess subverted the law and got away with this crime because he was just a paramedic there to help people and he just happened to bring a gun and try to kill this young man. But anyway, that's not important. Let's find out.
Correct. It wasn't until you pointed your gun at him, advanced
Here's the paramedic.
Him, with your gun, now your hands down, pointed at him, then you fired, right? Correct.
Well, you said that you carried a gun for protection that night and that you pointed it at Kyle Rittenhouse.
I do believe that in that photo, given the right narrative, one could suggest that, yes, I was pointing my weapon at the defendant. But when you play it as a movie or look at different stills, my arm was being vaporized.
The paramedic is starting to sound illogical. So given the right narrative, one could suggest that, I might have been pointing that gun at him. What right dang on narrative that you're talking about? Because the last I checked, Kyle was running away from you, and you happened to be chasing him. So, do paramedics do that? I thought they just help the folks that are in trouble. So, if he was a real paramedic and was interested in saving lives and stuff like that and being neutral, after the second guy was shot in the chest, he probably should have just helped him. But instead, he decided, I'm going to go ahead and shoot Kyle. Interesting. And then Kyle could have shot him off grip when he was like this. But he didn't until he did like this. And so now he's saying, just given the right narrative, I'm thinking the right narrative is what my eyes just saw, but maybe there's more to this narrative we're missing.
As I was allegedly pointing my weapon at the defendant.
What's the charge? Ain't we all?
It's completely inconsistent with the physiology of my wound that he would have shot me.
Forensic scientist.
While my weapon was pointed at his head.
You can kiss the baby.
Kiss the baby? What baby is that, sir?
So you're saying that you actually you weren't pointing your gun at him.
Okay,
is that what you're saying?
That's absolutely what I'm saying, yes.
What? Why would you admit to that? Why would you admit to pointing the gun at his head, Mr. Paramedic? Why didn't Grossberger say that when he was on the stand? Why did, when they asked him, was that you right there? Yeah, that appears to be me. Aren't you pointing your gun at his head? Yeah. Is it true that he didn't shoot until you did that? No. I'm going to ask you again. Is it true that he didn't shoot until you pointed your gun at him? Yes. But now he's on the fake news and he's saying something totally different. And I'm thinking, why isn't Michael right here, Strahan or Hamstrings or whatever, saying, dude, then why did you go on TV and say this? Why were you in court, saying that you did? Well, that's their fault for bringing this dude on their raggedy show because they want to hear the other side. Or do they want to force us to believe the other side of the story, which is, I guess, Grossberger's version, right? Yeah, given the right narrative. So he wants to give us his narrative. Let's continue.
Attorney Shirafzi had introduced, there's a photo of me with my gun pointed towards the defendant.
Yeah.
Either just after or right during. He had shot me in my right arm.
You don't know the difference? Either just after or during, I guess, me pointing my gun at his head, he shot me. Interesting. Okay, here we go.
I think it's important to note, though, that the physiology of my wound would be inconsistent with somebody being shot with their arm and, we'll say, the traditional way that you would point a gun at something. The only way that I could have sustained the injury that I have is if I had been shot with my arms up.
I hope that CNN become born again as a good media.
Now, I'm a little concerned about this guy and his physiology and all of that stuff. Because according to him, the moon and the stars have to be aligned, and then the wind has to be coming in at 2 knots per hour, and then the glare off of the mirrors and the light, the smoking mirrors, it might make you think, just from an optical illusion standpoint, that my arm is actually pointing down at his head, but the physiology says that there's no way in the astrology and then all of that. I was not pointing the gun at his head, even though it definitely does look like that. If someone was to give a false narrative of what their eyes are seeing. Interesting. So I'm starting to probably piece together why Grossberger here fell out that chair. See, God don't like ugly. Let's continue, though.
Did you ever point your gun at him?
Here we go.
Down in the valley so low.
I think again, in the still photos, it certainly looks like it, but never intentionally.
No. See, in the still photos, it might look like it, but I didn't do it on purpose. See, if you're thinking that I, with my own brain, told my own arm to point this gun at his head, then you're mistaken. You didn't know your arms and legs and everything else can do whatever they want without your consent? You didn't know that, Anderson? See, as a physiologist, I'm able to break that down to you. Oftentimes, people's arms and legs and body just goes where you don't want it to go and decide, you know what? In spite of you trying to help all these people as a paramedic, I'm going to reach in and grab this gun. and point this gun at this young man's head. And I don't want to hear nothing from you about this, Grossberger. So that's what happened right there. Interesting. And Anderson Pooper right here, I'm wondering if he believes it or not.
Following that gunshot, I had no use of my arm. I wasn't able to move anything.
Hang your head over, hear the wind blow.
In my right arm, or on my right arm.
Of course you wasn't, because you got your arm shot because you were pointing a gun at this young man's head. So I think then the physicist might be a little bit off on his calculations and measurements and stuff. What he is basically saying is cause and effect. I point gun at head. Young man with gun shoots me before I shoot him in head, thus resulting in my arm being vaporized, thus resulting in me not being able to actually shoot him in the head, because if he wouldn't have shot my arm first, I would have shot him in the head. So forget about what your eyes are seeing. Forget about what you heard me say in court and admit to. Forget that stuff. I want you to believe in my physiology and my forensics degree and my fake medical paramedic degree and my motive of being out there and me just being neutral. Yeah, he should have fell out that chair. And I hope that he never even appeared again. I hope he just army crawled right up on out of there to never see him again, because this dude's a liar. But boy, I tell you, man, that was funny. It was too much for his heart to bear, y'all. Well, not mine. I frankly thank God that this young man got off in spite of all the odds, all of the chips stacked against him. And I hope this idiot right here learned his lesson, but probably not, because the fact that he's on these fake networks going around and they're giving him a platform without even cross-examining him and asking about all these stupid narratives he's trying to throw out, physiology and biology and astrology and mess like that, lets me know that he probably won't learn his lesson when evil, powerful folks are encouraging negative behavior. That is not a good way to teach people to do good. You don't teach kids lessons from when they mess up and get in trouble. You coddle them, you encourage them. What they're doing is they're using this useful idiot to still hang on to the narrative. But I think he got shattered along with his arm. Now, God bless y'all. We see y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care. Now, God bless y'all. Don't forget to hit that like button, share my videos. Also, don't forget to donate if you like Kevin's Corner. There are links in the bottom of this video. Check out Extreme Tees, my sponsor. If you like the products, put Kevin in the promo code. You'll get a 20% discount. And what else? Oh, find me on Rumble in the Jungle. All right, God bless you all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care.